So I come from, like I say, a cricket playing background, where I was playing for about 14, 15 years. And I knew one day the legs would, the good leg anyway would sort of give up the ghost and wouldn't allow me to continue playing on my feet. It was sort of starting to get a bit difficult. So I just sort of started looking around for, I knew about wheelchair sports and had sort of been asked to, if I wanted to play basketball plenty of times, that sort of thing. So I approached wheelchair sports and they sort of put me onto basketball, which I did for a couple of years. I did a couple of seasons of wheelchair basketball, which was a lot of fun. And then I just started looking for other sports that I could really try. So I did things like different athletic events. But what got me onto badminton was I was due to go to a come and try tennis day, and actually for one reason or another I missed the day, and a gentleman at Wheelchair Sports asked me if I would like to give badminton a try. They'd just recently had a badminton club start up, and I'd played once or twice when I was in school, so probably when I was about 11 or 12 I'd given badminton a go. So I thought, it might be fun, and I went along to a 2-hour session. Picked it up relatively quickly, and pretty much from there I was just hooked. I just loved just the skills of the game. It was a lot of fun. I already had sort of fairly decent wheelchair skills from playing basketball, and just enjoyed playing. So initially I just sort of started playing just that once a week at the club for a couple of hours, and it was more for a bit of fun than anything. And then at the time, Ian Bridge, who was coaching the group, he sat down with me and had a bit of a chat. And I think, in what was a small world, he had actually umpired me in a cricket match once, which was quite funny. But I think he noticed that I had pretty good hand-eye coordination. I picked up the sport fairly quickly, and I guess he maybe saw a little bit of promise in me. We sat down, had a chat. He told me that badminton had been included for the 2020 Paralympic Games for the first ever time. Would I be interested in, perhaps pursuing the sport a bit more seriously, competing at a higher level, training harder, with a view to maybe one day going to the Paralympics? And for me, initially, I guess it was a bit of a pipe dream. It was something that I'd never really thought about before, and just me being a fairly competitive person, that was all the encouragement I really needed. Was, yep, let's do it, and let's start looking at training harder, and that was it. So yeah, we just looked to start doing a few extra sessions during the week, working on my skills, working on my chair movement. Probably the hardest bit for me was learning the racket skill, not having played before. But yeah, it just sort of it flowed on from there, where we kind of upped the amount of training sessions I was doing, and then I think sort of within about a year I was competing in tournaments. We were having sort of local state tournaments, and then went to a national tournament. And I think the first national tournament, which was the inaugural nationals, was probably the first taste of that higher level competition, where suddenly I was playing against guys from Melbourne who had been playing for a while longer than me. So that was the first sort of taste of okay, this is, I could really sort of maybe look to get a lot better at this. And then then that first international tournament in 2017, which was a big eye-opener, going and playing against some of the world's best players, and just seeing how good they were led me to sort of think about it and, look at what I was doing and how much more training and how much more practice I needed to get anywhere near the level of what these guys were playing at. So that really, after being at that first international tournament, really, I guess, gave me a bit of the kick in the backside to sort of say, I really need to start training a lot harder. So yeah, it just sort of led from there. I got to a stage where I was able to win Australian championships, and then go on to win the Oceania Championship, and all the while looking towards Tokyo as being the ultimate goal. And just kept upping the training, upping the amount of times I was training per week, and just working hard, getting better and better and better, and that sort of led me to today. Sure. So my classification's wheelchair 2. So that is for players who have issue with either one or both legs. So I was born missing my right leg above the knee. So I've always worn a prosthetic leg ever since I was a young child. That's my right leg. My left leg, I was born, I think it's a condition known as fibular hemimelia, which is an absence of the fibula. So born missing the fibula bone, and I think a various amount of foot bones and ankle bones were missing as well. So it caused quite a severe deformity of my left foot and ankle, which required a fair bit of surgery when I was a baby and a young child to sort of correct it and get me to a point where I was able to walk on it satisfactorily enough anyway to be able to walk properly. So I always sort of have walked for my whole life, and when I was sort of playing cricket, I think because I was sort of starting to get a bit older, the wear and tear on the foot and the ankle joint was quite severe, and it caused it to become, over the years, just to become quite unstable and quite painful. So look, my doctors kept telling me, look, you shouldn't be playing cricket because it's not good for your ankle, but if you're enjoying it, do it while you can. And that was my view, was that while I was out there enjoying myself and competing and having fun, then let's do it and worry about the consequences later, I suppose, which is probably not the best way to look at it. But so it got to the stage where I sort of played for about 14-15 years, and then my left foot, the ankle joint and foot, just became really unstable, and I lost a lot of my balance. So most of my balance went. So yeah, that's why I sort of transferred into wheelchair sports. It just became way too painful for me to sort of stand on my left leg or stand on it for any length of time or walk any distances or anything like that. So that sort of led me to go to the wheelchair sports, and I was quite lucky actually that I only just snuck into the wheelchair 2 class. The way they classify wheelchair 2 class is they actually take a measurement of your residual leg as such. So you stump on the class as an amputee. So they take a measurement and from on your normal leg, and the length of your stump is what they take the priority measurement from, and it has to be a certain length, otherwise they would make you play standing. So I was in a position where my stump length was a little bit too long by probably about an inch, and as such would have disqualified me from being able to compete in wheelchair. But they had the classifiers when I went to my first ever international tournament in Thailand. They took one look at my left foot and ankle and said, "I know that's a good enough reason to put you into wheelchair 2." So yeah, it was basically I would have had to have played standing, which probably, going back 10-15 years, I would have done quite happily and given it a go standing. But now it would just be impossible to play standing. So I'm quite lucky that I'm able to play in the wheelchair class.